Howdy folks, Brother Jim reporting here at End Times Prophecy News. It's a slam dunk. Brutal. The Trump campaign destroys Joe Biden after his campaign posts abuse of power video. Let's go straight to the truth and the slam dunk.
Joe Biden promised Ukraine $1 billion if they fired the prosecutor investigating his son's company.
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
But when President Trump asks Ukraine to investigate corruption, the Democrats want to impeach him, and their media lapdogs fall in line. They lost the election. Now they want to steal this one. Don't let them.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
30 seconds of slam dunk. And only 12.2 million views. Oh, you bet that one's blocked heavily on Twitter and their leftist social media giants. Earlier today, the floundering Joe Biden campaign posted a video of abuse of power. Who's doing the abuse of power? Quid pro quo Joe. Or Quid pro Joe. The Biden campaign tweeted, "Right now our democracy is at risk. We've got to come together and fight back against Donald Trump. Democrats, Republicans, independents alike." Joe Biden says, "My dad had a saying, Joey, the greatest sin of all is the abuse of power. Right now our democracy is at risk." The Trump war room immediately responded with a video blasting Quid pro Joe. This was brutal.
I really, honest to God, believe our democracy is at risk. My dad used to have an expression, Joey, the greatest sin of all is the abuse of power. Whether it's a man raising his hand to a woman or a child, or whether it's somebody with economic power abusing people who don't have it.
Who abuses children? Who abuses power? It's you.
Or a government that abuses its power. It's the greatest sin.
Yes.
That exists. It's
Your government, the Democrats, abusing power. It never stops.
And if we don't fight back,
yeah, that's true. If we don't fight back at you, you'll just take over and take all the guns in Virginia. There is going to be. They won a civil war, the Democrats in Virginia with Governor Nordham. Oh, yeah, they're pushing for it.
Democrats and independents alike. Democracy is not a guarantee.
You bet it's not. Because globalists and Marxist communists like you who do your play for play quid pro Joe never stop. Next up, Matt Gaetz observe active threats on the floor that if Democrats did not support impeachment, they would get cut off. The deep state. Freedom Caucus members Matt Gaetz and Andy Biggs joined Greg Jarrett on Hannity on Monday night. During their discussion, the two Republican lawmakers said they witnessed Democrat lawmakers being threatened to vote for the slapdash impeachment process. There you go, the deep state working actively on the Senate floor. It's not just that Nancy Pelosi raises money for, actually it's the House floor, not the Senate floor, but Nancy Pelosi raises money for her political caucus. It's that Nancy Pelosi uses that money as a political weapon against anyone who would potentially vote against impeachment. Andy and I observe active threats on the House floor that if the blue dog Democrats did not go along with the radical left of the Democratic Party and support impeachment, that they would not be supported by the DCCC, Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. So that's the active threat. Greg Jarrett says. Matt Gaetz says, that's the quid pro quo. The only quid pro quo that I observe in this impeachment process is the quid pro quo where if the Democrats did not line up behind Nancy Pelosi as lemmings ready to go off the cliff, that they would then be bludgeoned by their own party in the primaries. The overthrow of the United States of America through the Democrat Party.
Data, Bernie Sanders is gaining momentum big time. He is, for example, neck and neck. He may win Iowa. He's ahead substantially in New Hampshire. And boy, his fundraising is really taking off while Elizabeth Warren is tanking. And all of a sudden, they're going to be forced back to Washington in January off the campaign trail with a Senate impeachment trial.
Well, perhaps Elizabeth Warren's decreases in revenue correspond with her campaign not wanting to pay her wealth tax. But I think that the Bernie Sanders ascension in the polls is a sign that the Venezuela wing of the Democratic Party is showing a little life here. And you just got to wonder, Greg, who's going to win this thing on the Democratic primary? Because you got Joe Biden just as the blundering gaffe machine that he is. You've got...
And if you don't know, Joe Biden never had a job working to pay for his living until he was 40 years old. Total loser, scammer, politician, corrupt to the bone.
Kind of the weekend at Bernie Sanders campaign where he's trudging along but gaining momentum. And then Elizabeth Warren, who I think has had her ebbs and flows, I don't see a winner in the field yet.
You know, Congressman Biggs, Democrats are now openly beginning to wonder about the wisdom of Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff's, and Jerry Nadler's impeachment farce. The numbers are indicating this is going to backfire. Have they created a political quicksand, and now they've stepped right into it?
Beginning to backfire? Let's see. The Trump rallies has risen before the impeachment slapdash impeachment scam started. The Trump numbers of Democrats who did not vote for Trump that are attending Trump rallies used to be 14%, that had already flipped over from the Democrat Party and gone over and want to vote for Trump in who didn't vote for Trump in 2016 but want to vote, who now support Donald Trump, right, at the Trump rallies. Then the Trump impeachment scam started, and now it is at 25 to 27% attend all the Trump rallies that already jumped from the Democrat Party, didn't vote for Trump in 2016. Over 1/4 of the attendance are Democrats that used to be against Trump. This is amazing. It's mind-blowing. There could be? No, it already happened. It's over, and it's going to get far worse for the Democrats as God destroys the Democrat Party.
Yeah, they really have. And I think Nancy Pelosi's instincts were correct about a year ago when she was kind of backing off. We don't want to really get going on this thing. But as Matt said, the Venezuelan side of the Democrat Party in Congress said, look, no, we got to have it. And she had to cut a deal to become speaker because it was such a close race. She has taken the bull by the horns here, and it looks like she's going to get gored because of it. The reality is this has been a huge mistake for the Democrats. They have nothing. There are people within the Democratic Conference itself that realize that they have nothing, and it's done nothing but help President Trump solidify his position with people of reason throughout the country.
Congressman, those within the Democratic Party, you just referenced them, are they angry about what Pelosi and Schiff and Nadler have done?
I think some of them are. Some of them who I've talked to quietly aside, they want this to go away. They wish it had never happened. But you know what? Nancy Pelosi's got him because she raises money for him. But the reality is...
The reality... God is doing the same thing he did to Pharaoh. He hardened his heart after 10 plagues. And he's doing the same thing to the Democrat Party. Listening to the squad, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ariana Presley, and those nutball Muslim who want to impeach Trump. And they want to go to the Green New Deal and make America a socialist country. Take away all of your guns and start a civil war. That's what they want. She's been listening to them because they're hardened their hearts by God. And they've turned into total fools. Destroying the Democrat Party one day at a time. Thank you for listening.